Any discussion of the best clubs for talent production in football tend to take in the same teams. Lyon, Lille, Ajax, Borussia Dortmund and now the Red Bull sides are known for their ability to develop youth or polish up rough gems from the world's less watched divisions. But one club which is rarely given its due is Bayer Leverkusen. Founded in 1904 by employees of Bayer, one of the world's biggest pharmaceutical companies, Leverkusen have become just as efficient a factory, turning out star after star from their youth academy, as well as playing a leading role in bringing some of football's biggest names to international attention. But who exactly can trace their superstardom back to a stint with Die Werkself? And how do they keep producing talent? We took a look at the history of the team to find out. A Bolt strategy. Like most clubs which focus on youth, Bayer Leverkusen saw talent development as a money-saving exercise. The team have always skewed young. 2020-21 is the first season in which the squad's average age has topped 25 since 1998-99, and their far-reaching scouting network was responsible for bringing Brazilians Lucio and Zé Roberto to Germany in the early 2000s, both of whom were sold to Bayern Munich and went on to win multiple titles. That period also saw the West German side turn promising players into household names. Michael Ballack arrived at the Bay Arena having already won a Bundesliga title with Kaiserslautern, but left for Chelsea after reaching a Champions League final with Leverkusen as one of the best goal-scoring midfielders in the world, registering 79 goals and assists in 155 appearances for the club. Dimitar Berbatov, plucked out of obscurity in his native Bulgaria at 20, turned Leverkusen a 1,100% profit in 5 years, arriving for €1.3 million in 2001 and joining Spurs in 2006 for €16 million. Leverkusen had established an effective model, and they became adept at using their place in the German football pyramid to their advantage, taking talent from the teams below them like Heung-Min Son and Hakan Çalhanoğlu from Hamburg in 2013 and 2014, and offering minutes to youngsters from the teams above them like Toni Kroos, who spent a season on loan with Leverkusen in 2009-10. However, it was the arrival of Jonas Bolt which began the club's commitment to making stars in earnest. First an intern, Bolt created databases for the team's scouting department to monitor potential acquisitions, then became a scout himself, recommending the signing of Arturo Vidal in 2007 and later bringing in Dani Carvajal from Real Madrid. In 2014, Bolt became the sporting director and set about turning over the side's academy. On Bolt's orders, the youth team all the way down to the under-9s adopted the same training practices as the first team, putting a heavy focus on tactical and technical development to fast-track promising kids into the senior setup. However, Bolt was not content simply to create good footballers and wanted also to create good citizens. As Sports Illustrated reported back in 2018, the club once refused to take then 17-year-old Kai Havertz to Spain for a crucial Champions League knockout fixture against Atletico Madrid, leaving the German at home so he could study for school exams. That's the product of a focus on personality development. And in his quest to improve Leverkusen, Bolt adopts a humble approach, comparing his club critically to other successful teams in an attempt to find weaknesses, consulting Athletic Club and MLS outfits like Atlanta United and New York City FC. He also installed ex-player Simon Rolfers as the head of youth development with a focus on helping youngsters with the pressure of a career at the highest level of the game. With 5 of the last 6 seasons seeing Leverkusen finish in the European spots despite an increasingly competitive field, Bolt's strategy seems to be paying off. Coaching. The disadvantage of competing with richer clubs is that teams like Leverkusen can't afford to recruit guaranteed stars, either on the pitch or in the dugout. The club has only once paid over £25 million for a player and never spent more than £30 million, instead trying to snap up prospects before they explode, and they've extended this idea to coaching hires too. Of the team's last 7 permanent managers, 1 was in his 30s, 5 were in their 40s, and only current gaffer Peter Bosz was over 50 when given the job. And while many of these acquisitions were unsuccessful, the 6 before Bosz on average spending just 15 months in the job apiece, it rarely hurt the team's prospects, with the board always happy to accept their mistakes and move on, trusting in the strength of the emerging talent to keep the team competitive. The 2 most important coaches of the last decade have been Bosz and Roger Schmidt. Hired from Red Bull Salzburg in 2014 by Bold, Schmidt was known for his intense high-pressing style, which both improved youngsters in his charge like Sadio Mane and enabled his team to overperform its limitations. In Leverkusen, he immediately turned the side into a relentless turnover machine, which harried opponents into submission and created huge chances with quick counterattacks. During his 3 years at the helm, Leverkusen ranked first and second in Germany for passes per defensive action, a measure of how often a team presses, and that meant that when Bosz came in 18 months later, he inherited an outfit which knew how to work without the ball. Though Bosz had been sacked by Borussia Dortmund after just 6 months, Leverkusen recognised that the Dutchman's front foot approach could work with their squad, and since his appointment they have once again excelled in the press, ranking first in both 18-19 and 19-20 for passes per defensive action, and second so far in 2021. This consistency in style means the club knows exactly what to look for in academy prospects in an outside recruitment, helping determine which youngsters to sell and which to keep, and making them less likely to spend inefficiently in the transfer market. And it helps thus still producing world-class talents. What's next? Most academies are lucky if they produce a handful of top-tier players in a decade, but for Leverkusen it's becoming a yearly event. Gladbach's Christoph Kramer, Leipzig's Kevin Campbell and Bayern's Leroy Sané all spent time in the Leverkusen factory. But while none of those broke into the team as youngsters, Bolt's reign has seen a straighter path forged for potential stars. Under Schmidt, Benjamin Henricks became one of the most highly rated young fullbacks in Europe, playing on both sides of the defence, completing 1.5 dribbles per game and winning possession back 7.2 times a match, roughly the same as Wilfred Ndidi. A poorly timed move to Monaco hampered his growth, but now he's back in Germany with Leipzig and is still just 23, suggesting an excellent career is still possible. Kai Havertz made his debut for Leverkusen in October 2016, becoming the side's youngest ever Bundesliga player, and went on to become the quickest man to 50 appearances in the competition's history, making his international debut at 19 in 2018, and finishing as runner-up for the German Footballer of the Year award in 2019. In his last 2 seasons in Germany, he contributed 38 league goals and assists in 62 starts, and earned a £72 million switch to Chelsea in 2020, almost triple the club's previous record sale, and the second biggest in German football after Ousmane Dembele's move to Barcelona in 2017. And Florian Wirtz is the next star on the conveyor belt. In 2020, the young German broke Havertz's record as Leverkusen's youngest debutant at 17 years and 15 days, and has already played around 30 times for the club in under a year since, with Monaco's Benoit Badiashile and Arsenal's Bukayo Saka the only teenagers in Europe to have racked up more minutes than Wirtz this season. At the time of writing, Wirtz has made 17 starts across the Bundesliga and Europa League and contributed a highly impressive 11 goals and assists in that time, with 8 of those coming in domestic play, more than anyone at Leverkusen except Lucas Alario and Leon Bailey. That shows how central Wirtz has become, and while his underlying stats suggest some degree of overperformance, with 0.35 expected goals per 90 compared to 0.6 actual ones, that XG number is still incredible for a player of his age, ahead of the 0.33 Kai Havertz put up in his first year as a starter, and the same as Pulisic and Maddison in the Premier League this campaign. A special passer, Wirtz has created 2.2 chances per 90 in 2021, a number which just 6 under-23 players can beat in Europe's top 5 leagues, and level with stars Foden, Pedro Neto and Houssam Aouar. He also manages 1.4 passes into the penalty area each game, which ranks 18th in the Bundesliga, and can progress play with the ball at his feet too, completing 2.7 successful dribbles a match, 9th among Europe's under-23s. And more importantly, Wirtz has that Leverkusen DNA, pressing opponents 19 times a game, the second highest figure in the squad. In Wirtz, the club's values are perfectly encapsulated: a mastery of the technical and tactical aspects of the game, the talent to produce magic, and the willingness to work hard. And his presence in the first team proves to Leverkusen's youngsters what they have always been told, that if you're good enough, the club will give you a shot. As long as Leverkusen focus on their principles, they'll continue to make stars. And in Wirtz, they may have just found someone to rival Ballack in the pantheon of club's greats. So guys, that was our EFD Explained on why Bayer Leverkusen are Germany's unsung talent factory. What did you guys make of it, and what do you guys want to see us cover next on EFD Explained? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel and click on screen for another great EFD video, and I'll see you next time.